Hi, guys. This is our top 5 movies of 2025. Let's get into our thoughts, guys. Here are my top 5 movies of 2025. Number 5, Superman. I really enjoyed this movie. I mean, going from the past Superman movies, I was very skeptical going into this one, but this one just was refreshing, a new ray of light in this DC world. The whole cast dynamic was just really good. We had Superman, Clark Kent being totally different, and I really enjoyed that. Then you had Lois Lane and her relationship with both Superman and Clark Kent being totally different, and I just really loved that dynamic. Then you had the side characters. You had the Dick of Green Lantern. You had Hawk Girl, who was just this badass woman, and then you had Jimmy Olsen, who was just this guy with swagger. He didn't look like it, but he had it, and I just enjoyed that whole cast of characters that they brought together for this Superman. And holding what made it in the top 5 was the performance of Lex Luthor. I thought he was just everything I could have imagined. He was this mastermind, evil, crazy, just over the top character. And this is what really brought this movie to life. Without that performance, I think it would have fell short. But yeah, it was my favorite part of the movie and I really enjoyed it. Number 4, The Life of Chuck. From start to finish, this movie just had me spinning, just really thinking about life and how you should determine how you want to think about how you want to spend your life. And the way the movie unravels the story was just something I've never seen before and really was enjoyable and sad and happy and all these emotions. It just really blew me away. I was very surprised. I didn't really know too much about it. But Tom Hiddleston's performance, especially the dance scene in there, was just really good. Mark Hamill, he did a great performance as well. So overall, this movie really was amazing and I can't speak highly enough of it. Number 3, Warfare. Oh my God, this movie just shook me to my core. It's something I don't want to watch ever again, but it's something that will stay in my brain forever. I think, in my opinion, I think that's the closest thing to what a real warfare scene will be like, and just the camaraderie of the army and just the clan itself was just unheard of. Like the totally different men just coming together in these one sequences, and the suspense throughout the whole movie from start to finish was just, I was on the edge of my seat, just terrified really of just what was going to happen. And it was really horrifying, but it was really, really special movie to me. And that's why it's in my top 3. Number 2, Fantastic Four. The whole family aspect of this movie really just, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a fresh coat of paint for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I really enjoyed, yeah, just the whole family. You got Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. I really enjoyed Invisible Woman. I thought she really held her own in this movie, and I really did enjoy that. And then you got Human Torch. She wasn't just what I've seen before previously with Chris Evans' version. It was his own guy, and it was just really made the movie. And the lack of use of superpowers in this movie I didn't really notice it too much until the boy said in the review. But during the whole movie, I think the story was just really good. It really was compelling, and I did enjoy Galactus in this movie. And I thought that was done really well. And yeah, my honorable mention goes to Predator Badlands. This movie was, I'm a big fan of sci-fi, so this just really ticked off every sci-fi itch I had this year. And it came as a surprise. I don't really watch Predator because it's really suspenseful and there's a lot of jump scares. But this one was just action-packed sci-fi. Just the way it utilizes the world and the action was really well done. The story was actually really good too, which surprised me. But yeah, that's why it's my honorable mention. And number 1 has to be Sinners by far. Just as soon as I watch this movie walking out, I can still recall how I felt, still feel the same way, just in amazement and just such enjoyment I got out of this movie. Like, as soon as I saw it was horror, I just didn't want to watch it. But the boys, they carried me through and they said, watch this movie. I said, all right. And yeah, Michael B. Jordan, geez, he's an amazing actor. He just, the way he performed both the twins was just really well done. They felt so different, but the same. So well done. The music in this, oh, by far my favorite soundtrack. It's just the way they incorporated the blues with the horror, with the vampires was just phenomenal. I think it's second to none, and I really that's why it's my number one. It's definitely my favorite. This is my top 5 films for 2025. Starting off at number 5, we have The Life of Chuck. I really enjoyed this film. I thought that the dance sequence for me was my favorite of the whole film, and it was pretty much that second act. I really enjoyed Tom Hiddleston's part of this film, and just Stephen King's story just really opened up and had this great emotional arc throughout. I thoroughly enjoyed the film from start to end. I could have watched another half hour of this film. It's just such an enthralling story, and I just can't give it enough praise. I think it was probably one of these films that I wasn't expecting much going into it, and coming out of it, I just loved it. So I really enjoyed this film, and I think that it really deserves to be on this list. Going in at number 4 is my boy Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible number 8. I love Tom Cruise. I love Mission Impossible. So if there's a film coming out in the year that we're doing these videos, I'm going to probably put on this list just for the sake of Ethan Hunt doing the stunts. And by far for me, the biplane was so great in this second act of this film, and the whole stunt work and way that Tom Cruise does it. This time I wasn't spoiled by watching it, the behind the scenes of it, like 8 million times at IMAX. So I still enjoyed the film. I think it was good and cap-end everything. Opposed to some other people, I actually liked how they wrapped in, like, the film 3, film 4, and all the stories, tried to wrap it into one film. So it was a good closing off. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Going in at number 3 was Fantastic Four: First Steps. I really enjoy that retro futuristic vibe of the whole 1960s, but it's the future world. I really enjoyed Pedro Pascal, his character, Mr. Fantastic. He's a bit more like closed off and not so much like the suave, cool, and all of the Fantastic members, how they're a bit different to how you've seen them in previous iterations. So that for me was so cool. I thoroughly enjoyed Galactus. He was such a cool villain, and so was Silver Surfer. Her take was really interesting, and the way that she interacts with Johnny was so good. I really liked the film, and probably to cap end it, I got a Galactus popcorn head bucket. It's like my favorite thing that I got for this year's popcorn bucket. So there you go. Number one popcorn bucket is the Galactus head popcorn bucket. Number 2, Sinners. I really enjoyed this film from Ryan Coogler. I think that overall the storyline was quite interesting. It's kind of like From Dusk Till Dawn, but it's so much better. I just thoroughly enjoyed the way the blues aspect comes throughout this film, and the way that this horror aspect comes into it, but so subtly, and then starts to expand throughout the film. I especially like the prologue at the end when the credits start to roll. Kind of gives a bit color to these vampires and what's happening in their lives after the fact. But the music and the way that everything works together for me was just so beautiful and really interesting. I think that it would look great on an IMAX screen. I think you'd enjoy it just enough at home. I think it was just a thoroughly well done film. And the way that the main character is played by the same actor is, for me, probably one of these films that Warner Brothers, for some reason, did 3 films where the main character or main 2 characters were played by the same actor. I think that out of all of them, this was by far the best. My honorable mention goes to Caught Stealing. This was a film, another one that I wasn't expecting much out of. It was a Darren Aronofsky film, and I really enjoyed it. I think that the way that this story was told, it's kind of like a 1990s story, and he's going through these series of events. Austin Butler is a really good protagonist, and his storyline is quite interesting. I overall think that the writing was quite good. My favorite
was the He brothers. They're like these cool action Jews. I love them so much. They were just like my highlight for the film. But the storyline and the whole film, it's a good runtime from start to end, really interesting. But overall, I think that it's just an interesting watch. And number one is F1 the movie. That is my top film for this year. I love Formula One. I go all over the world to watch it. So, of course, when I found this film was coming out, I had to see it in multiple experiences. So, there was IMAX, there was D box, there was 40X, there was standard. And every single time I watched it, I was just so in love with the way that the cars drove and Brad Pitt and how he interacts with the other teams. Knowing Formula One, I come into it with a bit more backstory, I guess, than just the average moviegoer. And so I really enjoyed the way in which we talk about the commentary with the TV telecasts, how they're setting up the cars, the driving aspects, old driver versus young driver, and the way the team interacts. For me, it all just rings really true. And it was just beautiful, especially the driving scenes. They stand out so much on like an IMAX screen or like in the motion seats. They just look so beautiful. And it's like the closest you're going to get to driving one of these cars. Unless you do like a simulator, this is like the closest. So I, for me, think this was my number one film of 2025.
These are my top five movies of 2025, and number five is Bring Her Back. Another Raka Raka great movie. Cameron like showed me their world, and I think I really enjoyed their first movie, but this was very much special. I think because this movie talked a lot about grief, and it has Sally Hawkins in it, so that is just a plus for me anyway. And the kid actors was really good, so yeah. Bring Her Back, another great Raka Raka movie. Number four, The Life of Chuck. This year we had a lot of different Stephen King movie, and The Life of Chuck was another great movie adaptation. Mike Flanagan is like one of my favorite horror director. This was his non-horror movie, and everything was great. Like the first conversation in the movie was spectacular, and from that point onwards, I was just glued to the screen. I loved every bit of the movie, and it is one of those movies that I kept thinking and thinking about it again, and I just want to rewatch it again, but I don't because it is again filled with so much grief. Number three, Warfare. Alex Garland has been knocking out of the park last year. Civil War was in my top five. This year is another movie, Warfare. The soundtrack alone in this movie can like literally make my movie like break into my top five because it was one of the best soundtracks of like every gunshot, every single bomb explosion was done so well. I could literally hear like the buzzing in my ears afterwards. And this movie has one of the craziest jump scares. I think horror movies would crave for such reaction. And just overall, this is such a gloomy movie again. It has one just levity in the beginning. Apart from that, yeah, another really gloomy movie, but I love it. Number two is Begonia. I just watched it recently. It's not a recent bias or anything because I'm a sucker for these kind of movies. This movie reminded me a lot of 10 Cloverfield Lane, and I love the movie. It's one of the most underrated movies ever. And it sort of followed the same pattern, but not really again. Um, Jesse Plemons was dirty ass looking guy, and he was so good in the movie. Amazon plays another great character, and they have another guy, and their chemistry was so well done. And so it was all about is she an alien or not, and how the movie progresses. We are in two minds of that. Maybe she's from another planet or whatever. What's happening here? There's a lot of analogy with bees and what's happening with that. Really, really good movie. And the honorable mention is The Long Walk, another great Stephen King movie. Stephen King has been like his movies getting adapted like every time, and this year has been very good. It was very hard to crack in the top five, but I really enjoyed this movie. Uh, the things I learned in this movie that you can basically you can sleep while walking, you can defecate while walking, the different things I've even never imagined. And somehow there was so much tension. The whole movie was people just walking and talking. And you can actually hate such kind of movie, but the conversations, the way they able to grow these characters while walking is just such a spectacular writing. And yeah, so it's a shame that it didn't make it in my top five, but the other movies I loved it even more. And number one movie is Sinners. This year has been really good for horror. We had weapons, we had drop, and I think Sinners was a special movie for me because I don't really like musical. There was a lot of music in this movie, but somehow this movie, the way they combined music, vampires, and all that blues, everything was so well done here. And Michael B. Jordan, and he played two different roles, and the way he played them was spectacular, and I love every bit of this movie. And I have watched it one more time again. After watching it, I loved it even more. And this is the kind of movie, like, especially for horror, I would say that we need to do more of this, because for a bit of like the half of the movie, we were just building these people, building these characters, and then shit hits the fan. The vampires, even the vampires had a lot of, like, I didn't hate them because they had their own reasons. So that's how you write an antagonist and a protagonist. So overall, one of the best movies ever. That's why it's in my top five.
Thanks for watching our video, guys. If you want to give us a like, subscribe, check out our social media, and if you want to see any of the reviews from the films that we talked about in this video, catch them on our channel. See you in 2026.